Okay, good morning. I'm so glad to be here at Coonan's this morning for Pints and Politics. This is my monthly community conversation. Glad to be here. This week is Earth Week in Michigan, and yesterday was Earth Day internationally. So I will be following this with a parks and cleanup at Wiegand Park, and that's at 8.5 Mile in MacArthur over by Van Dyke Public Schools. I welcome anyone who would like to join immediately following 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. It's our planet. We have a responsibility to take care of it for a future generation. We are stewards of our natural resources, and so I appreciate it if anyone would like to join in. Coming up on Monday, we have a special civic engagement town hall. Representative government only works as well as the people who participate, and so it's important that everybody knows what their rights are, what participating in the election process looks like, what are the current voting protections that are in place, and what are some ways that you can participate here in our community. We're going to have the League of Women Voters, the Michigan Center for Civic Engagement, and special guest Jocelyn Benson, Secretary of State for Michigan, will be joining us from 10 to 11:30. So if you are available, I'd love to have you come join us for the Civic Engagement Town Hall. We're busy. Mark your calendars. We got a lot coming up, and with this beautiful weather, June, July, and August, I'll be holding my community conversations in the park. I will be at Veterans Memorial Park Saturday, June 11th. Wiegand Park, July 16th, Saturday, July 16th, and Owen Jacks Park, Saturday, August 20th at 11 a.m. So I appreciate this opportunity. Community conversations is where accountability and transparency come for government, and it is my job is made better by community members who show up and participate. April, we have a lot of Arab American Heritage Month. To be Arab is about speaking the Arabic language. It transcends many countries, it transcends culture, it transcends religion, and we see Arab-speaking people in the Middle East, African countries, but also locally in Dearborn, Detroit, and Warren. Arab American Museum in Dearborn is a fantastic place to visit to learn more, and our culture is made richer by the sharing of food, religion, history, and tradition in the Arab American heritage. April is also Autism Awareness Month, and it's important that families know of resources that are available from the state of Michigan, know about access to behavioral health, such as Judson Center right here in our community, know how important it is to make sure everyone in our community, regardless of ability, have access to inclusion, awareness, and understanding, and that's why Autism Awareness Month is so important. Early intervention for autistic diagnosis is important, and being able to intervene and address some of the issues. State of Michigan offers an Autism Navigator to assist with seeking resources and support. Liam's Law is an issue I'm working with as a parent advocate of a child with autism to make Michigan more accessible through universal changing tables. A lot of times we don't think about what happens for children and adults who have needs that cannot be met with infant changing tables, and often depend on being able to change on the floor of a bathroom or in a vehicle, and that's unacceptable. It's not good for hygiene, it's not good for privacy, and it's not good for dignity. And so we continue to advocate for this issue and this legislation. We're able to secure $10,000 grants for buildings in the last budget, and I'm advocating for another $10,000 grants in this year's budget to continue encouraging businesses and venues to offer this equipment to residents throughout Michigan. This week was National Work Zone Awareness. You may have seen people wear orange to draw attention as orange barrels roll out in our community. Construction barrels go up. Construction workers go to work along congested traffic. Helping workers get home safe and alive at the end of each day is important, and it can be done by slowing down, following signs and directions. We know that more people have been killed recently in traffic accidents, and that's someone's job. So we want to be, I'm with you there. I've been in traffic slowdowns, and the stop and go traffic is never fun, but being aware of it and knowing that how you drive makes a difference in people's lives. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Too many men, women, and children experience sexual assault. It is important to teach affirmative consent. That is not just enough to not say no. It's important to have agreement and consent. And know that there is support and assistance for those who are victims. It is Black Maternal Health Month. Listening to women, listening to Black women, having an advocate, a partner, or doula at birth helps to address issues, and being attentive to the potential health complications. Often pregnancy and birth is considered a routine medical experience, but we know that it is complex and it can have a lot of side effects. And so making sure that we are attentive to mothers and their physical needs is important to survival. We want people to be able to raise their children. And then finally, religious observations in April. You know, our country values the freedom of religion. Our community is a pluralistic society, means that we represent a lot of religions in our community, and we respect all of them. And a big piece of that is learning about differences in our community. And my colleague on the floor house shared some of the many holidays that are celebrated in April, and some I knew and recognized, some I had never heard of before. So we know that our Muslim community is observing the holy month of Ramadan until May 2nd. That is customized by daily fasts, community events, prayers, and acts of charity. Ramadan commemorates the revelation of the Quran, or the Muslim holy book. Our Jewish community celebrated Passover from April 15th to April 22nd to commemorate the anniversary of their exodus from Egyptian slavery and to celebrate freedom. April 2nd was Ugadi, or Gudi Padwa. Ugadi is derived from the Sanskrit word uga, age, and adi, starting, which means the beginning of a new age. And this is the Hindu New Year. It's celebrated predominantly by people who speak Telugu, Kannada, and Marathi. And April 14th was Sri Ram Navami, when Hindus celebrate and participate in charitable giving and holding community meals. April 14th is the festival of Vaisakhi, which is one of the most important dates in the Sikh calendar. Originally celebrated by Hindus and Sikhs as the Spring Harvest Festival in northern India in 1699, Guru Gobind Singh chose this date to establish the Sikh Khalsa, a collective name for Sikhs who have been initiated into the faith. Easter was last Sunday, and the culmination of Lent, or 40 days of prayer and fasting. And last week, which commemorates the death, suffering, crucifixion, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. It is the loving act of God the Father and the sacrifice of God's Son, Jesus. And it's a holy day considered to be filled with hope. The Baha'i festival of Rizvan is April 20th. Rizvan means paradise and represents the spiritual springtime when God's revelations to humanity are once again. And so I think it's beautiful to realize how many cultures, how many religions have common celebrations, and to think about who else is celebrating, what does that mean, to understand and inform is helpful. Celebration for me this week is the advancement of the Kratom Consumer Protection Act. Been working on it for about 2 years now, and it was unanimously voted out of the Rules and Competitive Committee April 13th, and I'm expecting it to receive a vote on the House of Representatives in the next month. More legislative updates from Lansing. The Education COVID Relief Package is seeking a hearing. We introduced a bipartisan Education COVID Relief Package. Students are starting their standardized testing in schools, and we have legislation that penalizes people by scores, including students, teachers, administrative, and our school buildings and districts. We know that through COVID, there's been delays in instruction, and people didn't get to choose how their instruction occurred, depending on their community, geography, and spread. And so we don't think that those should be punitive. Testing scores and assessment are supposed to inform how we help our students, how we meet their needs. So we really are moving for a committee hearing on that. I'm working on a package of bills around homeless youth legislation. We're seeking a hearing for House Bill 5756, and I'm looking to introduce 2 more bills this week. The 5756 extends the window of time youth shelters and personnel will have to secure permission from parents and guardians of a homeless minor to provide service. The second bill would extend access to medical care for homeless youth. The third bill will update the definition of homeless youth to the federal definition for 17 to 21-year-olds for the purposes of transitional housing programs. So we have community organizations that are helping homeless youth transition out of shelters into their adulthood, and making sure that we are in compliance with the federal standards is important. I'm working with local Hmong leaders, and we know Warren, Detroit, and even Sterling Heights is home to one of the largest Hmong communities in America. And we will be celebrating the Hmong American Day at the Capitol in May. More information to come. Michigan Department of Education is working on teacher shortages with a workforce job fair. Michigan's Department of Education is hosting an education workforce job fair series that is open to employers of educators, educational support staff, as well as individuals seeking work in the educational field. There are 2 in-person job fairs and an additional virtual fair that will be taking place on the Brazen platform. So May 11th, there will be a job fair at Lansing Community College. August 11th, there will be a job fair at Schoolcraft College in Oakland County. June 7th, there will be a virtual job fair. So if you are someone who is working towards a teacher certification or another educational professional certification, if you are someone who has retired or let your certification lapse, or if you are working in one certification in education and you would like to expand that to a critical shortage area like special education, like math and sciences, they will work with you to make that transition between roles, to renew teaching certificates and other licensure, so you can help fix or meet the teacher shortage. For those who have youth going to college, we know that our FAFSA, or free application for student aid, is down, and so there is an extension to submit your applications for federal aid for college and other higher learning programs. So May 1st, now that you've filed your taxes, you can turn that in and apply. Tax day was April 18th. Thank you. Tax dollars are how we fund our schools, road repair, bridges, sewers, lead pipe removal, local government, higher education, public safety, and corrections. Legislature budgets our tax dollars to fund these essential services. A lot of times we talk about where's our, how much tax dollars we're giving. We don't always talk about what do we get for those tax dollars. And so, yeah, it's my pride to say, first of all, thank you for participating. And second of all, let's remember where those dollars are going and how we use them. Locally, I met with United Way this week to discuss the community needs. They wanted to bring attention that over half of our community is classified as an ALICE family. And ALICE means that it's classified as the working poor, asset limited, income constrained, employed. That means you're working, you're earning a paycheck, but you're struggling week to week and month to make ends meet. And that many of these families can't afford even a $500 unexpected expense. That's important. We know that many community members reach out to myself in my office for assistance, and we have the 211 phone number. Instead of 911 for an emergency, 211 helps with community resources. Community requests, number one in our community was food banks. So costs go up, what families could make ends meet with is not going as far. And so just putting food on tables is important every week. In addition, utilities assistance is another issue that our community depends on. 211 connects community members with over 28,000 resources provided by 7,000 agencies across Michigan. And so I encourage you to talk about 211 in the community. If you know of a family who's struggling, having a hard time, that they can always reach out to me, but also reach out to 211 as the first call to find out what kind of resources are there to help. For April, additional SNAP food benefits have been extended to offset the additional cost for eligible participating individuals and families. And I've been busy this week. Just because we weren't in Lansing doesn't mean that I've been on vacation. I visited Macomb County's Recovery United Community Center. And this is an organization that provides support for individuals recovering from substance use disorder. They address harm reduction measures, like providing Narcan, connecting those who are ready for treatments with access to programs. They provide certified peer recovery coaches to help people through this process. They provide support groups, recovery community events, and sober entertainment. And everyone at the Recovery United Community Center that serves is also in recovery themselves. They are certified as recovery coaches, having completed the training and received the statewide certification. Yes. So if you know someone who would benefit, connect them. And if you'd like to know more yourself, they have fantastic. I went on a tour. It was amazing. Warren Parks and Rec Department is hiring. They're looking for students interested in summer employment opportunities to help work at staff our parks and the community center, like lifeguards. Warren is holding a job fair for Warren positions that are available on April 30th. So if that is something you or a child or a neighbor would be interested in doing over the summer, it's a great summer job, yes. And then it continue to work with local child care providers to meet needs and make sure that they have access to the grant money that is available to help bolster our child care provider network. The biggest constituent concern continues to be unemployment. Good news, UIA has paused wage garnishments and intercepts state of Michigan tax refunds in approximately 398,000 cases where workers collected federal employment benefits during COVID-19. These pauses are in effect till May 7th. A lot of people are getting these statements in the mail and saying, do I have to pay? Make sure you follow the steps laid out in the letter. Make sure you're in compliance. Protest any concern, any determinations that are not in consistent with your filing, but know that there is relief on the way. If you need more details, please reach out to me. COVID-19 continues to be at low community transmission rates in Michigan and is increasing elsewhere. We continue to watch the new Omicron variant, but better weather creates opportunities to mitigate spread. Just know vaccinations, booster shots, and testing are the best way to reduce severity and death. And just, that's pretty much the end of my agenda. A reminder, park cleanup after this event at Wiegand Park from 12:30 to 1:30. The Warren Centerline Prevention Coalition is participating in a multi-coalition event at Emmanuel United Methodist Church in East Point from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. I'll be speaking on civic engagement and how to advocate for your community. The prevention coalitions address youth alcohol, tobacco, vaping, and drug use prevention education. If you're available, come to the Civic Engagement Town Hall on Monday, 10 a.m. So glad to have Jocelyn Benson here in our community to address our concerns. And I bring a variety of resources that are available and for you to take. A very popular one right now, as everyone is planning their summer outings, is Camp Michigan, which breaks down the camping resources across the state. Take what is available. We've got services for seniors, people, by the people, for the people, Citizens Guide to Michigan Government, and hopefully our hunt and hook information is hitting mailboxes. Mine arrived yesterday. So for our hunters and fishermen planning, they're renewing their license. That should be hitting your mailboxes. Okay. That's my update from Lansing. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions about what's going on, this is a great opportunity to ask. If you have questions or concerns personally, this is also the time.